Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started today. So, look what I have for you, communists, anti American, socialist scum. Day three of the New York Post, a liberal newspaper, telling the truth about Zohran Mamdani being a Islamic extremist who wants to bring New York City to its knees by implementing socialism. See, I always read from liberal news sources. You know why? So when all the liberal nut jobs are in the comment section and they're saying I'm reading from some conservative paper that spews propaganda, your own people are saying this about Zohran Mamdani. So let's jump into the article. Zohran, so far away, Boca Raton mayor luring businesses looking to escape Mamdani's socialist policies. Wow. Don't you love when the liberal zombies all turn on each other? It's only a matter of time. Boca Raton Mayor Scott Singer told the Post he's had numerous talks with New York City business titans about relocating to his Florida beach city after socialist Zohran Mamdani's primary race stunner. New York is not going to be the capital of capitalism anymore, Singer said. Boca has no income tax or business taxes, while Mamdani said he plans to raise both as well as property taxes on some wealthier, mostly white neighborhoods. Could you imagine if a Republican candidate came out and said, I'm going to raise taxes on a black neighborhood. I'm going to raise taxes on a Hispanic neighborhood. I'm going to raise taxes on an Asian neighborhood. But as long as you're being racist towards white people, it will always be accepted. Always. So, this Muslim extremist socialist who celebrated 9/11, who said it was necessary, who won't denounce Sharia law, he is going to implement Sharia law in New York City. He's also a socialist. He comes out and tells you, I'm going to tax white neighborhoods more. See, that's called a transition of wealth. That's called getting something handed to you that you didn't work for. And that's what this piece of garbage cockroach stands for. And all you white people like celebrating in the streets, yeah, Zohran, I love Zohran. You're just a total disgrace. This lowlife hates your guts. But since he has a smile on his face and he kisses babies and he jumps up and down in the pride parade, it'll all be forgotten. I love seeing him at the pride parade, jumping up and down with his rainbow flag. He should take that back to his homelands and see what would happen to him. He would never raise that flag in his homelands, but he'll do it here in New York City. You know why? Not because he agrees with their lifestyle, because he needs their votes. And that's what just like Mayor Adams said, he's a snake oil salesman. And black Americans that live in New York City, you better get out and vote for Mayor Adams, or the resources that are for your neighborhood. You know who they're going to go to? Illegals, Muslims, and foreigners. And once again, black Americans who vote for Democrats will be left with absolutely nothing. See, all these Democrats promise black people stuff all the time, and they never come through. And Zohran Mamdani is no different than the rest of them. So the Boca Raton mayor also went on to say, give us your rich and downtrodden capitalists. He's taken jabs at Zohran Mamdani. Of course, Boca Raton mayor Scott Singer told the Post he's already had numerous discussions with the New York City business titans about relocating to his Florida beach city after socialist Zohran Mamdani primary race stunner. New York is not going to be the capital of capitalism anymore, Singer predicted. I've pitched them on moving their corporate headquarters. We've already had financial service firms with strong presence here, Singer, the city's Republican mayor since 2018, said of the Big Apple business leaders he's spoken with last week. We expect more inbound calls. We expect to have more people coming because of high taxes in New York, and we're ready. He said, adding that some of the inquiries he's received have come from leaders of financial services and tech industries. It's so amazing what all these liberals do. See, all these Democrats and liberals, they care about is power. So, and if criminals, gangbangers, illegals, people who don't work, if those are the people who elect them to power, they don't care. They don't. This is typical socialism. The whole world can burn, and as long as they have power and drive back to their mansions and eat steak and caviar and lobster while the rest of us eat out of garbage cans, they are more than satisfied. Zohran Mamdani, listen, if you want to live under Sharia law, Islamic extremism, socialism, go back to your homelands and live that garbage there. Go back to your homelands. We don't want that here. And this is why I always say this. If you're not born on American soil, you shouldn't be able to run for any office here. You shouldn't even be allowed on the school board. You shouldn't be a congressman, a senator, a mayor, nothing. America is about capitalism. Capitalism creates jobs, creates wealth, creates the middle class. If you don't want to live like that, if your country's so great, get on a plane, a one-way ticket, go back there and live under that garbage because we don't want it here. And I have news for all you Democrats. Sooner or later, there won't be any places left where Republicans and conservatives and people who want capitalism can run. And sooner or later, you're going to poke the bear. So do yourself a favor. Like I said before, take your bullshit back to your other third world countries and keep it there if you know what's good for you. But I don't think you'll ever stop. Alexandria Cortez, Ilhan Omar, all the cockroaches, Democrats, they will not stop until socialism is implanted. And we all know how that's going to go from there. I'm not going to get into all that, but do yourself a favor. We don't want that here in America. If you want to live like that, take it back to your homelands. Then the Islamic extremist socialist, he went on to say, socialist New York City mayor candidate Zohran Mamdani doubled down Sunday on his plan to jack up property taxes on richer and whiter neighborhoods. It's just amazing that you could even say that, right? Oh, if you live in a white neighborhood, you're getting more taxes and nobody cares. Oh, those evil white people, those evil rich white people who get up every day and bust their ass and go to work and work 13 hours a day to make the world a better place, live in a peaceful neighborhood, but somehow they're evil because they're successful. You know what I notice about successful people? They work the hardest and stay out of the trouble the most. So, but hey, that would make too much sense for Democrats and liberals and all the anti-American scum that live in this country. Mondami, dubbed the Fidel Castro of New York by one deep-pocketed critic, claimed his soak the rich proposal was driven by race. So the radical Islamic socialist Mandami, during an interview on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday, defended his grandiose tax and spending proposals, including free buses, city run grocery stores, housing expansion, and freezing rents, as attacking the affordability crisis, not accelerating. He also said, I don't think we should have billionaires. Mandami, who the F are you to tell people how much money they can make? Who are you to tell people that Americans shouldn't strive for American exceptionalism? If you don't like it here, get the F out of here. Take it back to where you came from. Listen, if you vote for this, you deserve exactly what you're going to get. They're going to have no Muslim zones in New York City, just like they do in London and the UK, where they live under Sharia law. And if you're non Muslim and you go into those areas and you're sexually assaulted or murdered, guess what the police do? Absolutely nothing. They tell you, well, you shouldn't be here. This is their area. And this is what Mandami stands for. Do you ever think that Zohran Mamdani is going to assimilate into American culture? He's already telling you that he's not going to. He's a socialist. Islam comes first. He can't put his hand on a Bible and declare his allegiance to the United States of America? How can he do that? How can Ilhan Omar do that? How can Alexandria Cortez do that? They can't, and they never will, and they don't plan to. And the best thing about it is they don't even hide it. But there's nothing wrong with their behavior. I'll be the racist. I'll be the racist for pointing out their anti-American behavior and that they all want us to live in under socialism while we eat out of garbage cans and in crime-ridden neighborhoods, complete slums, while they drive back to their mansions and eat steak and lobster and retain power forever. I cannot stand this cockroach. And New Yorkers, you better smarten up because if Zohran Mamdani becomes mayor of New York City, you could kiss New York City goodbye. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasairos.